So what are the top things that people need to know heading into summer months here in your brain?
So number one, I mean, you need to get ahead of your deals. You need to have a good understanding of your deals, your market, and know the seasonality of your product as well. I know I work really closely with the data team at Dooley as well, and we primarily work with a lot of AEs, and we could see when those dips happen in activity. So that's a great indicator of where those leaders are going to be. People are going on vacation. People are going to be getting out. We need to get ahead of that. And some of the other big areas I think are just around planning. Planning. I know I talked to my VP of sales, Michelle, prior to this, and she said ABP, always be prospecting, always staying out there. But some of the biggest areas, James, around planning, I think number one, besides just understanding your pipeline, you need to ask your customers, what's your vacation plans, and who else is going to be involved with that? And I know that we'll get into the multi-threading a little later on, but when you have a really good grasp on your pipeline and you understand where things need to happen, then you could build really great mutual action plans dating backward of, hey, if this is your goal, how do we work backward to get to that plan? And then also one of the biggest areas I think is important, James, is asking for a backup contact as well. I know a lot of the time, and again, here comes the multi-threading, but to get ahead of those deals, you really need to understand where those people are and who else you need to talk to. When you have any type of momentum, you want to make sure that you're keeping that momentum, and momentum builds over time. So make sure you're staying ahead of it whenever you can.
The time spent on work. I feel like this one is the one that goes back to like the personal side of it, right? Everything that we do in the summer changes because there's other priorities happening, right? And again, this is like family and personal stuff. A lot of things are happening that are seasonal. Every season, we have seasons that we focus very heavily on work, and then we have everybody's this way. Every industry is this way. And then there are seasons where they don't focus very heavily on work, and they can do things like take new initiatives. So the time spent on work changes seasonally. You talked about the using their words was the one that you mentioned on the pre-call. When you say using their words, do you mean like, is this the parroting effect? Is this the mirroring effect? What does that mean when you say using their words?
Yeah, so that's you find that out, a lot of those things out in discovery. And I know that I'm always really key on discovering really, really hard, and you always have to continue to discover, but you could find out a lot about what customers want and what they need, and then also how they're talking, using those words back to them as well. So if somebody says to me, like, hey, this is something that's really important right now, we need our reps to ramp faster because we're not hitting our numbers. Well, what do we need to do then? You say that back to the customer. Hey, I want to make sure, and this is all along making sure, when you're getting that momentum, multi-threading, asking for some of those other people. You mentioned that this was something that was a really big concern for you. And I really want to be conscious of that and make sure that we're aligning to where your goals are. In my previous experience, CFOs are not signing software contracts while they're sitting on the beach. So when you're here, you need to make sure that you're getting ahead of any of those deals. So that's a great time of saying, hey, who else? To make sure that we're aligning on these goals. And you mentioned that this was a really big goal for you. Number one, asking, once you find out if they had any other vacations, you need to be asking who else would be, if you're out or you do have that vacation, who else could I be talking to? And
who's my go-to, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the perfect way to multi-thread. I want to make sure that you're doing it with the customer's interest in mind and using their words, you mentioned to me that this was important. I want to do my job, and I want to make sure that I'm aligning to what you're telling me is important. And that way, it's also another way to help cut out some deals as well. And unfortunately, if they're not as serious as what they mentioned.
There's so many different things that you can do with out of office messages. So make sure that you're, doing what you need to do inside your CRM, inside your follow-ups, inside your reminders to make sure, yes, Sam McKenna, show me that you know me. Thank you very much. That was Sam. Sam Sells. Great stuff right there. I appreciate you, Jason. Show me that you know me, right? When you mention it, I think people come in and they scan their inbox and they're looking for a couple things, stuff that's automated. I can delete that if I just know that it's automated. And then stuff that I didn't ask for from people that I don't know. But when you see that subject line and it says, hope you had a great time in the Amazon. John recently went to the Amazon, right? John's going to know somebody that follows him on Instagram is sending him that email. And he's going to be appreciative of the fact that they watched his stories and understand that he recently came back from the Amazon. So that's why you mention it in the email, so it doesn't get deleted. It ups your open rate first of all, and probably your reply rate as a result.
And I have one other point to this as well. And think about, I literally, like, I think about sales all the time. I say it to my wife. She's like, oh my God, dear God, just stop. Right. But like, for example, like I go out and go get the mail from your mailbox. How many of us have gone to, John was in the Amazon. John's coming back and he has a stack of mail this big. Look at that as your email inbox. If you're going through that mail, you're looking at it and saying, oh, this is generic. Oh, this one. Oh, I might need this one. Sort that. People are doing that same exact thing when they're coming back from vacation in their inboxes as well. So if you don't have that, at least that relevant information in that subject line, you're going right in that delete. You're going in the trash can.
Tyler, break this down. What is the context here, and what are the highlights that you want to share with the audience?
Absolutely. And I will read through this as well. I have it on my other monitor. So if you can't see it, just follow along with that as well. But just to give you a little context. So our CEO, Chris, he's the founder and CEO of Dually, incredible human being. He was friends with somebody who was a longtime Dually user who recently he went from being an individual contributor to a management position. So we had the opportunity of being able to expand outward into this company. However, it stalled. Like every single, not every single deal, but everybody has faced a time where you get on a discovery call, you're excited, they want to get a demo, and then the can kicks down the road. So this company recently just received a series. I think it was a Series C or Series B. And what they wanted to do, like I said to Chris, hey, could we potentially reach out to them on here? We had a little bit of a stall. So I'm going to read the message here to Chris, or from Chris to the customer. Subject line, for the love of ... no more congrats notes on funding, ! So, and again, this whole thing, we could probably have a whole nother webinar of diving into how great this message was. But so he says, hey, y'all, I'm in the same boat as you. Loads of people continue to send us congratulations on funding as a gateway to try to get us to buy their software. It gets old pretty quickly. So I'm not going to do that more than I've already have on LinkedIn, and just want to say thank you for being a customer of ours since the early days and helping us to grow alongside each other. It's been really nice to see you come in and make a marked improvement in the early players in the category. It just goes to show that category never is really mature, but more, they just evolve. I know that Tyler on my team, freshly minted as a new father and just back from leave, is working with you to tee up times to educate the broader team on Dually to help drive more efficiency across your sales teams, while also allowing the ability to more easily learn and repeat with your rapidly growing sales team. Assuming that with this recent raise, you've had a lot of conflicting priorities, I'd love to join the call to be a fly on the wall and hear more about your growth and success, while hopefully sharing some ideas back to my product team on how we could do even more for you inside the product. Did you nail down time yet? If not, please use my calendar to do so, and Tyler and I will coordinate on our side to ensure we're both free. Looking forward to it and thrilled to see your seemingly unstoppable growth. James, what do you think of that message?
My humble opinion is that it's a little lengthy for me, but I'd love to know what you think of it in the chat. For those of you that are following along with us, is it a message you'd reply to? And then Tyler will tell you what the result was.
Right. And James, I would actually, while we're hearing back in the chat here as well, I'd push back on the length of the message sometimes.
Okay.
I know when you're prospecting and you're at the top of the funnel, you need to make sure that it's that quick, jumpy, value-driven message. However, when you move down the sales cycle, and I know on the account management side, I send some pretty lengthy emails, but when you're sending those emails, you just need to continue to ask yourself, is this relevant, and is this going to prove some type of value to the customer? Now, if we go through all those different areas, you see the humor, which obviously makes you keep reading. Here's what's going on, and then here's where we are right now. Could we get some time? I want to help you in this process. How could I be a fly on the wall? So there's a lot of different things I don't think that if I was diving in and try to cut that email down, I really don't think that there's anything else that I would cut out, but I'd be really interested to hear what everybody else is saying in the chat as well.
It's good. Some people agree it's a smidge long, but some people are saying it's a great ask. And I agree with both things. I think so. So what was the result of this email?
So the result of this email was a response back. Let me see the timing. So it was about an hour later. And I was trying to reach out to give a little bit more context. I was reaching out for about a week or two to my main point of contact, couple calls, couple emails, LinkedIn message, and wasn't able to nail down the time. However, a couple minutes later from that message, we receive that. So I know we're going to jump into it a little bit later, but you need to, as sellers, utilize your executive team efficiently. And I know I'm excited to dive into that further.